We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavato Sahanau Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I wish you all a very happy new year and a great spiritual awakening during 2025. We are all studying these Upanishads and Bhashyams with a view to understanding our real nature as Chaitanya. The basic statement which Shankaracharya uses in all the Upanishads is Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. What is this Brahman and what is this Jagat? That is what our seeking is. We want to understand this one statement which is given out by Shankaracharya, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. I, the Jiva, who consider myself to be this body and mind, is given a new understanding with the help of Upanishads. This transformation of our attitudinal change comes about very, very subtly when we study these Upanishads. It's a very slow process. It is an internal process. And it is a systematic study for a length of time. So we need to study, we have been studying Upanishads for the last 2-3 years. And our understanding of the Upanishad becomes much more deeper when we study the Bhashya. Shankaracharya wrote this Bashyam 1300, 1400 years ago. We are still studying this Bashyam even today. To understand the Upanishads, the best text you can follow is Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. Because he goes extremely deep into the explanation of the mantras of the Upanishad. Normally, when we study without a Bhashyam, the problem is we understand the verse and its meaning, but we are not able to apply to ourselves as required by the Upanishads. We are studying Prasno Upanishad, and right now we are studying chapter 4. And in this section, what we are studying is a question raised by a student. The student's question is fairly simple, but then the answer to that question is very, very deep. The question which a student asks is, who is the dreamer? Who is the sleeper? Who is the waker? His main question in this particular section is with reference to the dream state. Who enjoys this dream state? Is it real or is it unreal? Is it experienced by Atma or is it experienced by the mind? Now, this is the question Shankaracharya is trying to answer. In between, he brings in an opponent, a Purva-Pakshi. And this whole verse deals with this debate between Shankaracharya and his opponent. When we study this debate, our understanding becomes more deeper. This Bhashyam, this commentary on this particular verse is very much in detail. Almost 150 slides are there for one verse. So you can understand what all Shankaracharya has said about this one mantra, about who we are in our dream state. Whenever we study this, we should also apply to ourselves. We all experience dream, we all experience sleep. So the teaching which is given in this chapter, we should apply to ourselves in these two states. With this background, we will enter to the verse number 5 of Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. We stopped in this topic number 145 last week, the week when we did this last session. Now here in this section, as I said, who experiences dream is the main topic. Is it the mind or is it Atma? Now, Shankaracharya is using 4 mantras to explain this concept of dream. 3 mantras are from Vedantic Upanishad, 1 mantra is from Prasno Bashyam. In this particular section, the 4th chapter of Vedantic Upanishad is being used. Let us see what this verse says in Vedantic Upanishad. Now, Atrayam Purushaha Swayam Jyoti. This is the verse which Shankaracharya refers to understand the dream state. Now, Purva Pakshi is quoting this verse and he is saying, who is this Atra? Atrayam means who is this person who is experiencing the dream state. This is the meaning of the mantra, but when we go through this, through the analysis of this mantra, you will get the gist of what Purva Pakshi is hinting at. The third last line, Atrayam Purusha Swayam Jyotir Bhavati. This line is very, very important in this mantra. That is what the Purva Pakshi is trying to quote. Atra is the confusion. What is the confusion? This Atra, does it stand for the mind or does it stand for the Atma? See, in Swayam Jyoti, the main theme of Swayam Jyoti is Atma is ever self-effulgent illuminator. Whether it is waking, dream or sleep, there is only one illuminator for all the 3 states. That is the essence of this mantra. What is the Purva Pakshi saying? Purva Pakshi is saying, in Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, Atma is self-effulgent illuminator. Why is it said that Atra means Swapna Kala only it is being said as self-effulgent? In this particular mantra, it is self-effulgent in dream state. In the waking state also, Atma is self-effulgent. It is got the help of the mind in waking state. See, the basic mistake the Purva Pakshi is making is, The Purva Pakshi thinks that in the dream state, the mind is not there. This is the fundamental flaw in his argument, which Shankaracharya points out later. So, dream as well as waking, Atma is self-effulgent illuminator. Illuminator means what? Like the sun illumines the earth, similarly, consciousness exists in this universe. The sun can illuminate only the waking state. Sun cannot illumine the dream state or the sleep state. What happens in sleep state? The sun cannot illuminate. Try to understand all this analysis. Then this whole discussion becomes very easy to understand. What the Purva Paksha is saying is, in dream state, Atma is self-effulgent. They can know only through, and there is no mind according to him. So Atma illumines without the mind is what Purva Paksha is saying. In the dream state, according to him, mind is absent. In the waking state, mind is present. There is a mental contribution to our experience. If mind is present, then Atma is the illuminator. If mind is absent, if mind is present, mind is the illuminator. If mind is absent, Atma is the illuminator. Is this contention? So the basic question is Atra. The word Sanskrit, in Sanskrit, Atra. This is what is being analyzed for almost 30-40 slides. Atra will not be relevant because mind is there to support Atma in waking and dream also. So what he says is that in the waking state, this Atma is illuminating is not very clear because the mind is awake. Shankaracharya gives answer to this question of Purva Pakshi or objection of Purva Pakshi in two stages. One stage he quotes one Brahmanic Upanishad Vakya, another stage he quotes another Vakya. Now, the next topic of 146. There are two Brahmanic Upanishad mantras which are quoted here. I will give you both the mantras, then you will understand what is the difference between them. Here, what actually happens in the dream state in the body is explained by two Vedantic Upanishad mantras. In the dream state is one, and then what happens in the sleep state is the other Vedantic Upanishad mantra. So 2.117 talks about the dream, 2.119 talks about the sleep state. What Shankaracharya says is, if mind is there as a second thing, the independent status of Atma is very doubtful. That is what you are telling me, Purva Pakshi. Whereas you are saying that because mind is not there in dream, Atma is very, very clear. It is self-effulgent. And that is what Brahmanic Upanishad is saying. Atra Atma is Swayam Jyoti. The mistake is mind is there in all the three states. Mind is there in two states. And there is another type of vritti which comes out from the Karana Shariram. Shankaracharya is going to give all these answers now. Now, what he says is, Atma is nirupadika Atma during dream. Kevala Atma alone is there in dream, unassisted by second thing. You can't say this because what he says is Atma is present along with something else in dream. Now, Purva Pakshi also agrees. How does dream come about? According to the Shastra, we all have got nadis. Nadi means it is a sort of a tissue. You can say tissue. You can say it is a nerve. You can say through which the blood really flows, and also according to Shastra says through the nadi, the jiva experiences the dream state. This is something new which is said in Prasno Bashyam. Jiva travels in the nadis of the body during the dream state. What happens in the sleep state, that is said in the 17th mantra of the second chapter of Vedantic. Here, very important, try to understand this concept. See, consciousness is self-effulgent, it is ever evident. How does the Shastra explain the sleep state? Shastra says, through this mantra is a pramana. It is a proof. This mantra, and this is a very beautiful section, comes in Vedantic Upanishads, second chapter, where Ajatashatru has a dialogue with Gargya. Okay, he has a dialogue with Gargya. I will explain to you the whole process so that then it becomes Ajatashatru is a king. Gargya is the disciple. Now, the Ajatashatru explains the process of sleep. Very, very unique. You may not have heard about this in any other Upanishad. When the consciousness is in the sleep state, it absorbs all the functions of all the organs, indriyams. And then this consciousness is there, this Atma lies in the heart. That state where the jiva rests in the heart is called as swapiti. When the jiva is traveling through the nadis, it is called as swapna. And when the jiva is there in the gross body, it is waking state, jagrat. See how different Upanishads, they teach us about the three states in different ways. So Shankaracharya uses this statement, number 17 of Vedantic Upanishad, to tell the Purva Pakshi that Atma is not alone in sleep or in dream. It is together with the nadis, it is together with the hridayam, and it is experiencing the sleep state or the dream state. And then what happens in waking? From these 72,000 nerves, which are called as hitaha, it comes back to the gross body. First, in the sleep state, from the nadis, it goes to the hridaya. That is what is explained in the 19th mantra. Purita, that membrane is in Sanskrit, it's called as Purita. Membrane means it is that nadi. It all comes back to that the nadi which is there in the heart. So Ajatashatru says that the Jivatma withdraws from the gross body and the indriyams and goes to the nadis. Indriyams is the power of the sense organs. So it withdraws. See the process. See the beauty of understanding these verses is we get a new understanding of our body and who we are. Suppose I say I am that consciousness. Now consciousness has the power to be in the golakams, in the physical body, in the eyes, in the ears, and all that, and experience the world. That is what we call it as the waking state. The same consciousness withdraws from the indriyams and it goes into the nadis and rests in the nadis. In the nadis only you get the dream state. Then the same Atma, the consciousness, withdraws into the heart, and then that is what we call it. In the heart, what happens? The jiva doesn't know the dream state nor the waking state. It is totally absorbed in the sleep state. So the king is asking the question to the Gargya, because Gargya had a doubt. What is this Atma? Can you explain to me? That is the doubt in Vedantic Upanishad. So the king Ajatashatru is the teacher, is the guru. So he takes this Gargya to a sleeping person. And the sleeping person, he tries to shake the sleeping person. He calls him out. The sleeping person is not getting up. So at that time, Gargya, king is asking the student, Gargya, tell me, where is this jiva, which was in the waking state doing so many things? Where is that jiva in the sleep state? So this whole section of second chapter in the Brahma Upanishad is to teach us in the sleep state, Atma is all alone. If you know that Atma can be pure Swayam Jyoti Atma. Suppose you don't know that, then you should know that Atma is together with the Karana Shariram in the sleep state. So even if you say that the mind is not there, there is no independent Atma in any avastha. That is the main point which Shankaracharya is trying to explain to us. See, many times we think that in the sleep state, suppose I wake up, I'll be alone. No, that never happens. Because when there is nothing else in the universe to experience, then you alone is the understanding. It is not a separate avastha. For example, Turiya. In the Mandukya Upanishad, it is said it is the fourth state when compared to the three states. Nirupadika Atma, pure Atma, is not there in waking, dream, or sleep. Atma is always associated with the body, with the nadi, with the puritat, hridaya akasha. So, what the Purva Pakshi is thinking is, if I drop all this mind, I will be pure Atma. So that is what Shankaracharya is trying to say, that you cannot experience Atma. The moment you drop your mind, there is no more experience possible. You can only say, I am that Atma in the waking state. It is an understanding in the waking state, and that is what is called as moksha. Nirupadika Atma is not there at any time. You have to prove the self-effulgence of the Atma in the Sopadika Atma only. Sopadika means Atma plus gross body, subtle body, or causal body. Mind is in three avasthas. You can have a dormant mind, which registers the sleeping period. You can have a semi-active mind in the dream state, or you can have a fully active mind in the waking state. In Vedanta Sara, there is a very, very subtle concept which is mentioned, and that is what they say is in the sleep state, there is a vritti, a thought of karana sharira. Normally, we say that vrittis is there in the waking state and the dream state. Vritti means thought. But what Vedanta Sara says is, pure Atma is there, never there in any avastha. Even in the sleep state, there is a vritti of a dormant mind. What is that vritti called? I don't know anything. For example, in the waking state, what is our knowledge? I know this world. I know this body. This is called as Vishesha Jnana. In the sleep state, what happens? Vishesha Ajnanam is there. Vishesha Jnanam is there in waking state. Vishesha Jnanam is also there in dream state. Vishesha Ajnanam, I don't know anything. That is also a thought. So, Atma is Swayam Jyoti along with the mind, right? That is Shankaracharya's explanation of this to this Purva Bhakti. So, there is no pure Atma at any time. Atma becomes Swayam Jyoti in dream is wrong. Mind is there, which is there, all the avasthas. The four mantras which Shankaracharya uses to explain the nature of Atma, Vedantic Upanishad, three mantras, 4.3.14, 2.1.17, and 2.1.9. Prasno Bashyam, he is asking the question in this verse. That is what we are discussing. Then then the Purva Pakshi comes back again. He says, again, he quotes back the same mantra of Atrayam Purusha Swayam Jyoti. He says, if you accept mind is there in Jagrat and Swapna, why should the Upanishad specifically refer to the dream state only? When the mind is common to both, why is the Upanishad in that Vedantic Upanishad talking about dream state? Why are you bringing? Then another person also, somebody also comes and asks, why are you bringing Vedantic Upanishad when we are studying Prasno Upanishad? Then Shankaracharya says that we need to understand all the Upanishads because you cannot ignore one Upanishad because all the Upanishads are trying to reveal one Atma. Therefore, it is important for us to study and reconcile. If there is any difference, we have to reinterpret the mantra correctly. You cannot say one Upanishad says Swayam Jyoti Atma and another Upanishad will say Aswayam Jyoti Atma. That we cannot say. That is Shankaracharya's contention. Swayam Jyoti is revealed by both Vedantic Upanishad and Shloka. Okay. Then the next few slides are there, a revision slide. Just some important points. If there are something, I will go through that. So who enjoys the glory? Who is that Deva which enjoys the dream state? That is the question of Purva Paksha. Shankaracharya says, mind enjoys its glory in soul. Purva Pakshi says, Atma, which is called as Deva, effulgent consciousness principle, is the enjoyer in the dream state. Okay? So Purva Pakshi and Shankara both agree that Atma is self-effulgent. But the controversy is Atma is self-effulgent in dream. That is what the Upanishad says. That is what Purva Pakshi was trying to question. And he assumed that mind is absent in the dream, which is a wrong notion. Atma illumines the dream without the mind. That is what Purvapakshi says. Atma illumines the dream with the mind is the correct thing. Atma is pure consciousness by itself, can never become illuminator or experiencer. Another very important concept which we all should understand when we are trying to understand this Atma. See, many a times, for example, in Mandukya, waking, you drop waking, dream, and sleep. And then the Upanishad says you are Turiyam. What is the normal understanding of everybody? As soon as I drop my waking, dream, and sleep, I will experience myself as this pure consciousness. And this is where all the seekers, they make a mistake. They come back and say, no, I never experienced anything so far. I'm waiting for that experience. I'm waiting for that experience of Atma. When I drop everything, I should be able to say I am the consciousness. Shankaracharya, in this brilliant conversation, he says one very important point. Atma is taken as an illuminator as long as there is material body, as long as there is a vritti, gross body or subtle body or causal body. When the vritti is referred to the gross body, we experience the world of objects. Look at this brilliant analysis. When the vrittis are referring to our thoughts and our passions, and it is a rajasic vritti, it is Atma is illuminating. The second type of vritti, subtle vrittis, which belong to the mind. So emotions belong to Karana Shariram or Sukshma Shariram. Sukshma Shariram. Third type of vritti is tamasic vritti, which is I don't experience anything. World is not there. I am not there. There is self-ignorance in the sleep state. See, in the waking state, I have a wrong assumption about me to be the gross body. In the dream state, again, I take myself to be the subtle body. In the causal state, in the sleep state, I take myself to be nobody. This is, all the three are mistakes. Try to understand. If you're not able to pick up this point, you can again ask me a question in the chat box. In the sleep state, it is pure self-ignorance, agrahanam, and anyata grahanam. This is the Mandukya language. In the waking state, it is anyata grahanam, agrahanam. Subtle state in the dream state also is anyata grahanam and agrahanam. Agrahanam means I don't experience myself, turiyam. I don't know I am turiyam, self-ignorance. So in the waking state and the dream state, there is self-ignorance, avaranam, plus vikshepa. Vikshepa means projection. I am the body, I am the dreamer, I am the waker. In the sleep state, what happens? There is only avarana shakti. There is no vikshepa. There is no projection of my mind because mind is passive. So there is only agrahanam. There is no anyatra grahanam. I am trying to explain the same concept from Mandukya understanding. See, ultimately we should understand Atma as pure Sakshi. Sakshi is with reference to Sakshyam, which is waker, dreamer, sleeper. Suppose there is no Sakshi, there is no question of it being an illuminator of something because there is nothing to illuminate. And that is what is called as Swarupa Jnanam. It is no longer Vritti Jnanam, it is Swarupa Jnanam. Atma plus mind mixture alone is the illuminator of the waking and dream. It is also the experience of waking, dream, and sleep. So it is illuminator and experiencer, but for both these operations, mind is required along with Atma. Either mind or Karana Sharira Vritti. Okay. Okay. Shankaracharya quotes this Brahma Sutra Vakyam, Tattu Samanvaya. Tattu Samanvaya means this is the fourth sutra of the first chapter. What it says is very important sutra. That is why we study Brahma Sutra. See, Brahma Sutra, this sutra says, Brahman is known from all the Upanishads. That is what is being revealed in all the Upanishads. So there has to be consensus. Otherwise, the validity of the Upanishad will be lost. So Shankaracharya quotes this Tattu Samanvaya and says, Vedantic Upanishad also quotes Atma to be self-evident in dream, waking, and sleep. Your understanding that there is no mind is a wrong notion. All Upanishads reveal the nature of Atma, therefore there is uniformity. So that is about the last topic. Now the next one, Shankaracharya writes, how to reconcile this Prasno Upanishad and Vedantic Upanishad? What you assume as no mind in dream is not acceptable. Now I will explain to you how you can reconcile dream state with reference to Prasno Upanishad, with reference to Brahman. So he is giving another brilliant explanation. If ego comes, it is not the truth. But I should win. That notion is always there in all of us. Always when we debate with somebody, what is the main point we have in our mind? I should win. I am right. And the other person is wrong. Other person is wrong is also not the truth. I am right is also not the truth. Swami Chinmayananda says very beautifully, he says, any discussion should generate light, and it should generate light to illuminate the truth of the discussion. Suppose it generates heat. You argue, he argues, you argue, then you're not coming to the conclusion of what the problem is. So Shankaracharya says, you give up your ego, abhimanam, and then you try to understand what is the truth. Don't blindly say mind is not there. Maybe I'm wrong, but let us try to understand what the Shruti is saying. Let us do Namaskara first to the Shruti. Shruti means what? The Shastra, Upanishad. When we do Namaskara, we tell ourselves, my view is not important. That means what? That I dilute my ego. Suppose I don't dilute the ego, what happens? I consider myself as a wise man and the other person as unwise. So, based on the Guru Parampara teaching, let me explain to you what really happens in dream and sleep state. So, Shankaracharya explains further. He explains the same what has been explained in Vedantic Upanishad, and he explains the mechanism of dream. Look at this analysis. Jivatma is equal to is consciousness plus Sukshma Sharira plus the reflected consciousness and the Karana Sharira. All this is there in Jiva. Suppose I say I am a Jiva, you are a Jiva. First, we consider ourselves to be Jiva in our waking state. In a waking state, what it is, I have consciousness, no doubt. Then that consciousness is reflected in my mind. That is what is called as Chid Abhasa. My mind is called as Sukshma Sharira, subtle body. And without the Karana Sharira, there cannot be a subtle body because that is the cause. So he explains whatever was explained, which I explained to you before, that in the dream state, the jiva withdraws from the physical body. Which means physical body means what? The golakams. The physical organs are there, but the jiva withdraws from them. Therefore, what happens? My indriyams are there, but I cannot operate the indriyam. I cannot see, I cannot hear. That is what was discovered by Gargya in Vedantic Upanishad, the second chapter of Vedantic. So ears are there, but they don't hear anything. Eyes are there, but they don't see anything. The nose is there, but the nose cannot smell in sleep. So Sukshma Shariram, Chidabhasa, with the mind, has withdrawn from the body. That means the gross body is lying separate. See, that is why even in death, what happens is the Sukshma Shariram has got a faculty to withdraw and then travel to the next body. This is exactly what happens in death. It also, same thing happens in sleep also. If you can understand and appreciate this process of the mind trying to withdraw from the golakams, our physical body is nothing but it is panchabhutas. If you understand this, you will have no fear of death at all because body is born, body is gone. If every day we experience ourselves without the gross body, so why should we be afraid of the gross body? As long as the gross body is there, I'm seeing the external world. But in the sleep state and in the dream state, gross body is not there. It is only the indriya, it is only the subtle body which exists. So jiva withdraws through the nadis and it comes to the heart in the sleep state. In the dream state, it is in the nadis, within that nerve membrane. The jiva is there, and in that only the dream comes. When the jiva goes to the heart, that dream is also gone. And that is what is called as Puritat. Puritat means it is a membrane just outside the heart. The, the jiva rests in that membrane. See, scientifically, I don't think this can be proved, but this is all Shastra telling us what is the sleep state, what is the dream state. I don't think science can ever prove this, but through the Shastra, we can understand these states. Shastra is something which says, which reveals to us what happens to us, which our indriyams cannot perceive. That is why we require Shastra. So in sleep state, the jiva is associated with the nadis or the membrane in the heart, and Atma is always together with all of them. But it does not have an association with the nadis or the puritat or the hridaya. Atma is ever asangaha. This we have repeated many times. See, Atma is a self-evident, self-effulgent principle. Other organs, the body, everything, they come and go in this pure consciousness. When they are together with the mind or the body, we say, I am a jiva. When that consciousness alone is, that is what is called as Atma, that is what is called as Brahman, that is what is called as Turiyam, and that is what Upanishads want us to understand as our nature. That Atma is not related, Asanga means what? It is not related to the gross body, subtle body, or causal. For example, light pervades the hand and also pervades the whole room. Light is asangaha. It is not connected. It is not connected with the hand. Light is revealing the hand. Light is not stuck to the hand. Suppose light is stuck to the hand, even when I go to the dark room, I will be able to see my hand. No. So what does this mean? In this example of a light and a hand, when I take my hand in a bright room, I can see my hand. Light as a principle is separate. Hand is separate. So similarly is consciousness and all other parts of the body, like the nadis, like the heart, like the membranes. They don't have any connection, but Atma is required to reveal them. Atma is required to reveal all the three states. That is the beauty of this section of Prasno Bashyam. Shankaracharya takes these brilliant examples of two other chapters of Vedantic Upanishad. The first section, second chapter. Third section, fourth chapter. For those of you who are interested to study more deeper this dream state and sleep state, you can go to these two chapters of Vedantic Upanishad, Ajatashatru Brahmanam and Swayam Jyotir Brahmanam. We are all doing Mandukya Upanishad, where the three states are there. But if you want to study the three states a little bit more deeper, you have to go to this Vedantic Upanishad, two chapters. In Swayam Jyoti Brahmanam, there is an example. What this example is an example of a jiva. A jiva is compared to a fish in a big, wide river. In the river, there are two banks, right bank and left bank, and the middle bank. In the middle. So in the Swayam Jyoti Brahmana, in the Vedantic Upanishad, this example is given to say how a jiva is like a fish. In the waking state, is considered as the right bank. The left bank is considered as the swapna state. So, between the two banks, there is sukham or dukham in both the states. When you are in the middle, that means in the sushupti avastha, you shake off all your other organs, mind, your medium, your instruments, and then you remain in your pure state as a witness of sukham or dukham. You're not associated with sukham or dukham. You are always pure consciousness. Ananvagatam punyena, ananvagatam papena, tirno hi sadan sarvan shokan hridayasya bhavati. This is a sentence from that Swayam Jyoti Brahmana, which gives the example of the three states compared to that fish, which goes to the left bank, again goes to the right bank, and then some sleeps in the middle. That is what happening to Jiva also. I am the pure consciousness, without any world, without the body. I enter the body, I see the dream through my mind. I enter the gross body, I see the gross world. I mistake myself to be the gross body experiencer as a waker. I mistake myself to be the dreamer. I mistake myself to be without the subtle body and the gross body in the sleep state. That was also a mistake. It is an adhyasa. And what am I? Shivananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. Chidananda Rupa. Chit Ananda. Chidananda means what? I am Chaitanyam alone, which is bliss. That Chaitanyam is free, which is ever free. The body, the subtle body, gross body, or the causal body have got nothing to do with Atma. Understanding this role of the mind in the three states is very, very important for claiming moksha. Okay, so that is one topic of Shankaracharya. You see, all the Shankaracharya's Sanskrit commentaries are these words. Next topic, Shankaracharya continues. See, this continues, I told you, this one mantra, fifth mantra, runs into 150 pages of slides. It takes 3-4 sessions to understand one mantra, very important mantra, Prasno Upanishad, Bhashyam. When we read the Upanishad, this is just 3 lines, 4 lines, you can understand the meaning, I can explain to you. But we will never go into this depth. Okay, the next topic. Here, the significance of dream as explained in the Vedantic Upanishad is explained by Shankaracharya. Very beautiful section, another beautiful section. Again, see what happens is Shankaracharya gives us different ways to look at art. Previously, we saw the example of fish. Now he is going to explain the same three states from another viewpoint. Atma by itself can't be the illuminator of anything or an experiencer of anything, even though it is of the nature of consciousness. Please mark this sentence because many questions in the Q&A sessions, I have to explain this particular point only. Many people ask the question, when you are telling me it is self-evident and self-conscious, self-existent, how come I'm not able to experience? That is the fundamental problem for all the seekers. And this question will never go unless you understand the depth of the answer. The depth of the answer is given in this portion by Shankaracharya. How does he explain this particular subject? Atma by itself, not an illuminator, not an experience. It requires the help of a mind, or it requires the help of Karanashari. Let us take the example of a wall. Wall has got existence. We say, when we look at the wall, we say wall exists. Now, the wall can't be illuminator or experiencer of anything. That is one of the natures of Atma. What are the three natures of Atma? Existence, consciousness, bliss. The bliss aspect of Atma cannot be experienced in the wall. Consciousness also cannot be experienced in the wall. Only Sat aspect can be experienced in the wall. Now, Atma is experiencer, illuminator along with the mind. Mind has got two roles. When we say that Atma is an experiencer with the mind in the waking state, in the dream state, or in the sleep state for the causal body. Mind plays two roles. Try to understand this. There are a lot of slides only talking of this aspect. Mind acts as an instrument for Atma to experience all the three states. To experience waker or dreamer's world, we need the mind. At that time, what is the role of the mind? The role of mind is, it is an instrument. It is the medium through which Atma experiences the world. Very important concept to understand the nature of Atma. Very brilliant analysis. See, again, this Bashyam is so beautiful. Now, the second aspect is, mind is an object of experience. When does it become object of experience? When I'm experiencing my emotions, or I say I understand or I don't understand. I have got lack of concentration. My mind is really running very fast. At that time, what is the mind? It is an object of experience. So mind is an object of experience when I'm experiencing emotions, thoughts, or I'm planning. Suppose I'm planning for the new year, writing new year resolutions, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mind is an object of Atma. But in the dream state, is the mind object or is it the subject itself? It becomes the subject. It is an instrument for Atma in the dream state, because in the dream state, it is Okay, let me go to the next level, the next slide, you'll understand better. Spectacles, for example, spectacles is an instrument through which I experience the outer world. Suppose in the spectacles there is an ant which is running in the spectacle. I don't experience it as an instrument to see something, but I experience the spectacle as an object. Or some vibhuti falls on the glasses, or some kumkumam falls on the glasses. So mind happens to be an instrument come object. In the waking state, it is very clear I experience the world because of the mind. Because mind is something which I'm using for experiencing. It is an instrument. In the sleep state, mind is resolved. I don't experience the world. In the waking state, mind is an instrument and it is also an object. For example, I am aware of my emotions. That time, mind becomes an object. Suppose I close my eyes. In meditation, we do. At that time, what happens? In meditation, I'm observing my mind and the thoughts. So it is an object. When I open my eyes, what happens? Through the mind and the eyes, I'm seeing the world. So it becomes an instrument. So this is Shankaracharya's revelation about the nature of mind. It is an instrument come object. Atma consciousness to experience a dream requires the mind as an instrument. Exactly like in the waking. In the waking state, mind is there, Atma is also there. Through the mind and the sense organs, it experiences the world. In the dream state, what Shankaracharya is trying to say is, mind is an instrument which Purva Pakshi didn't understand. Here, Shankaracharya is trying to explain to the Purva Pakshi. We are all Purva Pakshis. We are all people who are objecting and trying to understand the nature of the mind and nature of Atma. So, in the waking and dream, mind is an instrument. Mind is also an object in the dream. How do you know this? Entire dream world, tiger, is in the mind. Mind is an object, belongs to the dream only. Dream river, all these objects which we see, they are all seen as what? The same mind only. Therefore, in the dream, what happens? Mind becomes an object for consciousness. In the waking state, mind is an instrument for seeing the external world. When the external world is there, the mind becomes an instrument. Then in the dream state, the sense organs are not there. Dreamer has withdrawn from the sense organs. In the dream state, the mind is an instrument, mind is an object. Through the mind, I see, and the mind itself is the object also, because all objects in the dream are nothing but the mind. This is a very important revelation of Shankaracharya. In waking also, the mind is an instrument, mind is an object. Ultimately, the world is seen where? Not in the eyes, it is seen in the mind. So, mind becomes an object for consciousness. Suppose you don't know consciousness or Atma, you will always take that mind as you, which is what Purva Pakshi is taking. See, suppose, for example, you don't know that the spectacles are an object. When you're seeing the world all the time, you forget the spectacles. You think that I am seeing the world without the spectacles. Same mistake happens to all of us in the waking and dream. We we don't understand the nature of mind as an instrument and the mind as an object. In the waking state, it is predominantly a transacting mind with the world, with the objects of the world. So we forget that the mind is there at all. We are doing transactions with the external world, which is object. But mind is an instrument, we forget. Mind in waking plays a predominant role of an instrument, not as an object. Only when you close your eyes in meditation, mind becomes an object. If you understand this concept of mind being an object, mind being an instrument correctly, you will have no problems in meditation. The entire sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita is only discussing this aspect. Mind is an instrument. When you open your eyes, and it becomes an instrument when you are seeing the external world through the sense organs. So there are two instruments we are using. The sense organs are one instrument. Mind is also another instrument. That is waking state. In the dream state, mind alone is the instrument, and it alone is the object. So, in the dream state, instrument status is subdued. What is predominant in the dream state? Object status is predominant. Because all the objects in the dream are nothing but the mind. That is the glory of the mind, which this Upanishad is talking about. Devaha. This mantra, the Purva Bakshi picked up the in the last session, we started this dialogue and we said mind is Deva. Now, Deva means it is an illuminating principle, and here what the Upanishad wants to explain is it is the glory of the mind which can become an object in dream, it can become an instrument in waking. That is what is being revealed by the Prasno Upanishad, Vedantic Upanishad mantras. See how beautiful Shankaracharya's analysis is. Mind is predominantly an instrument in the waking state. Predominantly, it is an object in the dream state. When you understand this, then you have understood the concept of dream and waking. And also sleep. Because in the sleep state, the mind as an instrument is gone. Only Karana Sharira Vritti is there. I don't understand anything. I don't know myself or the world. That is what it is. Shankaracharya draws three corollaries from this examples of instrument come object. Mind, first corollary is mind is an object, therefore mind is different from me. My mobile is an object. I am not the mobile. Mobile is different from me. Apply the same rule. If mind is an object, it is different from me. Mind is also an object in waking, but it is easily known as an object in the dream state. That is one corollary, number one. The next corollary, number two, is whatever is an object of experience, it is always inert matter. See, when we understand these corollaries, these principles which are there in this universe, then moksha becomes easy. Without knowing, without inquiring, without doing vichara. Therefore, inquiry about the world, about our experiences is very, very important. And how to do that inquiry on our own, we will never know. when we study this Upanishad in this way, Shankaracharya tells us you should draw these type of lessons from our experiences. So the second corollary is all experiences are objects, inert matter. They are jada. Mind is also jada because it is drishyatva, ghata. Like you see a pot, you see your mind. That's all. Tathobodha clearly says that mind is also made up of subtle elements only. It is not consciousness. Atma is consciousness. Mind is inner. It is an object of experience like any other object in the world. These are very important. Try to go through these corollaries in your own time. Reflect on these corollaries because this is what will transform you from body, mind to Atma. Corollary number 3. Even when mind is serving as an instrument of experience, mind's contribution is only to register the vrittis, which is called as vritti vyapti. Pervasion of a vritti in the mind is called as vritti vyapti. What do you mean by pervasion? We are seeing the objects from the external world, they enter into our mind, they pervade the mind. But in the mind does not have illumination capacity. It can only take the impressions and keep it. Phalavyapti means when the consciousness illumines the mind, that is called as phalavyapti. Vritti vyapti and phala. This is the process of all transactions. Mind does not contribute to illumination because it is jadam. Illumination is done only by this slide number 288, these 3 corollaries, please think about them, reflect on them. It will take you to very great depths in understanding Vedanta. It will not only explain your experiences correctly with reference to Atma, it will also help you to relieve yourself from the identification with the mind or body as me. So, mind as an object, mind as an instrument, and the corollaries, 3 corollaries, revise them, keep a note of these 2 slides separately from Prasno Upanishad. You will really benefit from these 2 slides which are just presented, 287 to 88. Think about it. I have just given you what the facts are, but these facts have to be registered in your mind to transform yourself. Okay? Okay, there are some more revision slides. I explained to you, Devaha, is it the Atma or is it the mind? That is the basic question in this entire analysis. Purva Pakshi says that it is always the mind which is self-effulgent with the help of Purva Pakshi says there is no mind in dream. Shankaracharya tries to explain to him that always any experience requires the upadhi of the mind. I'm just revising them so that these concepts they become more clear to you. Pure mind can't be a witness of avastha trayam. It can never be a separate. You cannot separate the Atma from the three states. That's what it means. Mind is there in the waking and in the dream also. Mind is commonly present in both. All this we have seen. Most important is mind is an instrument and an object. For whom? For me, the Atma. Ultimately, you should say, I am the Atma. I am not the instrument called the mind. I am not the object called the mind. I am not the instrument called the physical body. I am not the object called the physical body. The twofold status of the object and instrument is very easily known when I know my internal conditions of being happy, unhappy, angry. So all these conditions belong to the mind. So very, very important lesson when we are experiencing our world in the waking state. See, many times people ask, is there any use of studying Upanishads when you are facing the world? Now, this is the very important lesson. Suppose you don't come to the Upanishad, you will always say, I was very happy, I was very sad, I was very angry. I has been connected with the states of the mind. But when you have this knowledge of Prasno Upanishad, mind is an instrument, mind is an object, I am Atma. Try to apply this principle in life, in your experiences. Whenever you are a little bit caught up in the world, just take a step back and then apply this rule. Mind is an instrument, body is an instrument, mind is an object, body is an object. I am none of them. I am the pure consciousness. In the waking state, the instrumental status of the mind is dominant. In the dream state, the objective status of the mind is dominant. Thoughts belong to the mind. I objectify the mind. For example, suppose I'm sitting down and planning for 2025. I am the consciousness which is looking at the thoughts in the subtle body. I am not, for vyavahara, for going through the prarabdha karma, yes, I use that. But I don't take that as my real nature. Prarabdha karma is going on for the body and for the mind. They will keep interacting. The world, mind will act as an instrument, mind will act as an object, and so on. But the moment I know I am the Atma, I am not the mind or the body, that is what is called as liberation. Mind is different from me. Mind is an object. I am the subject consciousness. Whatever is happening in the objective world is jadam by nature. It is mithya. It is drishyam. I am the only illuminator. I means what? That consciousness. Turiyam. Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante. Mandukya Upanishad. So, very important point to understand is mind is jadam, mind is an object. And in all the avasthas, it is Atma which is the illuminator. For registration of experiences, mind is used as an instrument. But the elimination of those registered vriddhis is done by Atma alone. Atma is independently effulgent. It does not require anything. That is why If you ask the question, what illumines our dream state? Is it the sunlight which is illuminating? Is it the tube light of the room which is illuminating my dream? The answer to the question is Atma is illuminating. What is illuminating my state in the sleep? I don't know anything. Is there any illuminating factor in the sleep state? Atma is illuminating. The Karana Sharira Vritti. Karana Shariram is also Jada. So Atma does not take the help of the mind. Mind is Jadam. Atma illumines by itself. Need not take the help of mind to illumine anything. That is why we have this beautiful mantra repeated in Kathopanishad and Mandukya Upanishad and Svetaswara Upanishad. Such an important mantra. We should do the meditation on this mantra sometime. I will take it up sometime. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nemo vidyuto bhanti, kutobhyam agnihi, tameva bhantam. Only when you shine means what? Only when Atma is there, there is a world. Without Atma, there is no world. That is the ultimate truth which the Upanishad is revealing. Suppose I know this truth, that the whole world is mithya, I am the light of consciousness which illumines it. That's the end of the whole study of Vedanta. This one mantra, if you understand clearly, it is the end of all your study of Vedanta. It's such an important mantra. Comes in 3 Upanishads. Kathopanishad, Svetaswara Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. Study the Bashyam of this, if possible. I'll take it up sometime. Even though mind is very much there in the dream, it is not the Deva. Atma is the Deva. Mind is in which all vasanas are activated. Waking vasanas are not activated. Waking is coming from the external world. So in the mind, the Karana Shariram, which has got vasanas, they get activated. And then you see the dream. Okay. Then who decides? Karma nimitta vasana decides. That means mind whose vasanas are activated, such a mind is there in dream. Some people don't see a dream because they don't have latent vasanas, or they have very, very subtle vasanas which they don't really experience it as such. Okay. In the dream, we don't take, this is another point Shankaracharya brings out. Atma does not see the mind as an instrument of perception during dream. Instrumental status of mind is forgotten by Atma. It is disowned because of what? Avidya. See, suppose I know I am Turiya Atma, then I will know that the mind is an instrument. When will I know this? Only when that avidya is gone. Avidya means self-ignorance. So during our study now, our main object is what? To remove that ignorance about Atma. If I do that, then I will be able to say that Jagrat world is not an independent world. It is always dependent on the objects or on the vasanas or on the in the mind. Okay, so we will stop here. We will start with this slide number 301 next week. Okay, so we'll take up this because this thing goes on. This explanation goes on for another 20-30 slides. We'll take this for further discussion next week. Okay. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudacchate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There are no other comments as such on the chat box. If you have any questions, you are free to ask them.
Hariom.
Yeah, Hariom, go ahead.
Happy New Year, sir.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you.
About the Swayam Jyoti Brahmana in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, I believe that is the conversation between Yajnavalkya and Janaka. Is that correct? Is that correct? About the conversation between Yajnavalkya and Janaka about the Swayam Jyoti Brahmana.
Swayam Jyoti, yes, that's correct. Whereas there is an Ajatashatru Brahmana where King Ajatashatru is talking to Gargya. That is a different. That's a different chapter.
Yeah, that is in second chapter, and this one I
the fourth chapter is Yajnavalkya. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Yajnavalkya. That is the fourth. Swayam Jyoti is Yajnavalkya chapter. You're right.
Yeah, I think the example is given like with which light it is.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes,
all
that's
those
correct.
examples are
yes,
given,
that's all Yajnavalkyas.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nandu. Anybody else has any other question?
Sir, namaste, sir. Nagendran here. I have a question.
Yeah, Nagendran, tell me.
Sir, in our path, Prasno Upanishads slokas, right? What we understand that when the Jivatma leaves, right? So it takes the latent desires, right, towards when the person dies, actually, right? Okay. So if the person dies during the dream state or sleep state, right? The mind is active either as an instrument or object, maybe to take those latent desires, right? Maybe from the mind, right? Maybe that is a purpose. The mind is active, right, during these states, sleep states, right? Is that correct?
Yes. You see, what happens is all the three states are belonging to the jiva.
Yeah.
And it is because of the prarabdha karma, these states to the jiva. Suppose you don't have any prarabdha karma, or you don't have any agami karma, or you don't have any sanchita karma. What will happen to you then? You will be pure Atma.
Yeah, right. Yes.
So if you have the jiva who is born again, is always with karana shariram, which has got sanchita karma, agami karma. So the body leaves together with the sanchita karma and agami karma. As soon as the jiva leaves this body, he has only got those two karmas. His prarabdha is over.
Yeah.
Prarabdha is responsible for all the three experiences in the body. That means your sthula shariram experience, your sukshma shariram experience, and your karana shariram experience.
Right.
Very good. You try to understand like this, then you will be able to understand what is freedom. Freedom means I don't identify with these as me. The moment you say, and that is the only purpose of studying the Upanishads. The Upanishads, they help us to, to understand life better. Otherwise, what happens? We remain as ajnanis. Like any normal person in the, we will also continue our life. Without this knowledge, we will be a jiva only. The jiva realizes he is not the jiva, but he is Paramatma. That is what is called as moksha. What is the meaning of Paramatma? Paramatma is a higher principle. It is Paramarthika Satyam. Jivatma is a Vyavaharika Satyam. Paramatma is a Paramarthika Satyam. The moment you see that Paramarthika Satyam cannot be experienced.
Right.
It can be only known. It's only a clear understanding. The moment you understand, you are free. That's all. The moment you understand, I am not a waker, I am not a dreamer, I am not a sleeper. I am Turiya Atma. This knowledge is called as moksha.
Okay.
You can get it immediately. While listening to the talk itself, you can say, I am not any of these three. They are there. No doubt they are there. I am experiencing them. But they are not real. The world is unreal, mithya. We don't say it is non-existent. That is tuchha. We say it is mithya. It is experienced. Experienced because of the karmas. That is what the Upanishad says. That is what the Shastra says. So I have full faith in the Shastra, which tells me, explains to me my experiences in life. It also explains to me that there is a non-experiential nature of mind, which is called as Atma.
Right.
And that non-experiential Atma becomes more and more clear when we go and study this Bhashyam. The Bhashyam study is the best study for Vedanta. This is the highest study possible. There is nothing else beyond this. That is why these talks are extremely important. Just listen to them. You may not understand 90 some portions. Just keep on listening. As you listen, you will slowly start understanding the depth of all these Upanishads.
Right.
Thank you, Nagendran. Is it clear?
Yeah, I got it. So I was able to connect the dot, right? When the Atma leaves, right? How the latent desires are takes away, right? As a karmas, right? Okay, and now I'm able to connect the dot between when we die, right? Suppose the person who dies in a dream state, right? How the person behaves, right? Okay, so it is through the mind.
State or the sleep state also. Many people,
right.
they just die in sleep.
Yeah, right. Yes.
But sleep state that doesn't affect their rebirth.
Yeah.
See, they have a punyam, therefore they die in the sleep state.
Yeah.
They don't even know that body is going off.
Right.
So it's a great punyam,
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, another thing is in a yoga shastra, right? They mention this sleep as one of the vritti, actually, right? Yeah. Maybe see all these days I was not clear because I didn't get enough answers for that. Why the sleep is called as a vritti, right? Okay, yeah. Now I understood, right? Maybe since the mind is partially active, either an instrument or object, so that's the reason it is called as a vritti, sleep, right? So now I understand. I was able to connect those dots also.
7.
Yeah, right.
You see, a lot of people, they come to these sessions, they get clarity of knowledge. They are free and they understand. Yes, this is what the scriptures are teaching. Good.
Yeah.
See, Vedantic study of Bhashyam is a very deep study, and it will definitely clear your doubts because the study is like that.
Yeah. Right.
It reveals. You see, the moment is that this Bhashyam study reveals the nature of Atma. Once the nature of Atma is revealed, all your doubts will vanish. Good. Thank you, Narendra. Anybody else has a question? If there are no questions, then we'll close for the day. Then we'll continue next week on this Prasno Upanishad. And tomorrow we'll have a session on Mandukya. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hari Om.
Namaste. Hari
Yeah,
Om.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hari Om.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Happy New Year, Shekharji.
Thank you. Thank you, Simran. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Happy New Year, Shekharji. Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Hari Om. Thank you.